Guys, this is Mike with Open It and Play, and today we're going to be looking at the War Machine versus Omega Red Marvel Legends Gamerverse 2-pack. As some of you already know, I'm a very big Iron Man and War Machine fan, and I really like the bulkier shoulder pads and chest plate on this version of the War Machine figure. It's a little bit of a different sculpt than the other figures, and definitely a beefier size for that part. I thought it really replicates like how War Machine looked in some of the War Machine and Forceworks flip books that I had when I was first getting into comics. And yeah, so I wanted to replicate that on my shelf. So you can see I got this in Japan. I actually got it off of Ami. It says it was used, but Ami is kind of weird recently. They have some used things for a cheaper price, but they're actually used but never opened. So it's like, doesn't that count as new? But yeah, anyways, in Japan, if you try to sell something used, the rules are really strict. Don't try to sell a Blu-ray, a DVD in Japan, because usually they'll never take it. They'll say like, this is too scratched. Has to be in pristine condition, like never watched. But anyways, that's another topic. Let's get these guys out of the box and we'll see what we're dealing with. Whoa. Kind of packed in tight. Okay. I took out the background at the same time, so you can see that here. It's a little bit of the usual Gamerverse background. I like this setup because it does sort of replicate the games without actually being the same as the games, but that's kind of the closest that Marvel Legends has permission to do it. But my screen does not want to focus on it. Okay, and we'll go on to the figures. Let's get these guys out of the package. Maybe we can work on Omega Red first because he's less meaningful to me. So we'll kind of get him out of the way. We've got the tape on this part. Pop out these hands. Now with the Omega Red, I don't actually have my other ones here, so I can't do a very good comparison for you on this video. I might make a different video with a comparison, but as I said, I already have the other versions of him. I actually really like Omega Red in the old X-Men Children of the Atom video game. He was one of my favorite characters to control in that one. Like, playing as Omega Red was always really fun. Something satisfying about doing the kind of whippy attacks with his arms. But we'll go with the accessories first, as usual. So he comes with these alternate hands. These alternate hands are similar to the hands he's featured with straight out of the box. So an open palm and a fist, and then you have a matching open palm and a fist. Okay, and with Omega Red, he does have these little tendrils. The tendrils, oh actually, let's check these hinges. Yeah, all hinges are horizontal. Should be the same with these two. Yes, they're all horizontal hinges. Okay, so these are his itty bitty, like sucked in version of his tentacles. If you don't know about Omega Red, he has these carbonadium. I can't remember what they call it for the material. Something similar to that. Carbonadium? Something like that. But definitely not vibranium. That's the word that popped to mind. But these tendrils, and then he has the ability to sort of like suck the life force out of people. So he's a serial killer who is a sort of like Weapon X type project, except not for Weapon X. It's for the Russian government. But anyways, these are his longer tendrils. So nice and whippy, and then they peg into his arms with these parts. Okay, and you can see all of them have like kind of a similar place for how they port on. So Got that little lip on there to keep him tucked in. Okay, and Omega Red himself, we'll get him kind of in view. Okay, in view and in focus, hopefully. So this is the same figure as before. I think there are some changes to it. I believe this part is a new sculpt for his shoulder pads, belts in the front. I don't know if these are bombs or what he has here, but he's got some kind of little grenade type thingies. They could just be kind of an armor thing, but it doesn't really look like it by the design. So with his head, does he have a bendy? He does. Okay, he has a bendy. It feels like it's gonna break, but he has a bendy or swiveling ponytail, so that's good. I don't know if the old one had that or not. I should know, but okay. His head looks down very well, but going up, you're going to be really limited by his hair. So, okay, and these shoulder pads don't hook into the butterfly joints here. Instead, they kind of peg onto the sides. Can you see that? Maybe you can see it a little bit. It's hard to get light in there. But anyways, they kind of peg into his shoulder. Okay, let's go over his articulation. So his arms, sorry, his head we already talked about. His arms will go up. Wow, that's really stiff. His arms will go up just about that high, it looks like. I can actually see the joint peg in there, so I'm a little bit worried to do it further. But he does have these butterfly joints, so his arms will go forward a long ways, like that. But you are going to be hindered by the shoulder pads. They have a bit of flexibility to them, but they're still going to limit you a lot. So, okay, and then his arms will go back quite a lot, to the point that his chest starts to look really unsightly. But it's nice function if you need it. So, okay, and he's got the usual bicep cut, double jointed, pinless, maybe for the first time, arms. So that is an improvement for some people. This part is pegged in. It's a softer, rubbery plastic. Okay, and then here's the port where you stick in his whippy tentacle effect. I'm going to pop one of those in just to show you. It's a tight fit. I have to do it off camera. It doesn't seem to be going. Okay, it looks like one side of this is sort of flat. So I think you do have to kind of line it up with that side. Otherwise, it's really hard to get in. You know, today is kind of a cooler day, but it's not that cold. But so far, I cannot make it peg in. I'm gonna have to take this off, see if I can get any better of a result. Sort of like this. And push, 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 push. Oh my gosh, that's hard. Okay, I finally got it in, but man, it is a really tight fit. So that baby is strong. Okay, I'll give him back his original hand. So he's sort of in the relaxed position with this. Okay, I'm sorry, it's out of focus again. All right, on to his chest. He has no diaphragm joint, but he does have an ab crunch that will get you forward a long ways and back quite a long ways too. Kind of folds up these guys, but that's okay. He's got a waist cut, torso twist like usual. His legs will kick up really high. These are not drop down, I don't think. Yeah, not drop down, but they do have a lot of give to them. So you can kick up really high. Okay, unfortunately, he has, well, sorry, first he's got thigh cut. Unfortunately, he has pegs in his legs. So they did him dirty on that one for the people who want the pinless tech. Okay, I believe these are in a different color. I'm not sure if the shape is different, but I think it's the same shape probably. Same mold, but different color it seems to be. Okay, and he does have ankles that'll hinge forward that far, back that far, and they have nice ankle pivot. So that is Omega Red. Let's see if I can get him one of these bigger tentacles to go with it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it because the first one was so tight, but we're going to see if we can get this. Okay, that one went in a lot easier. All right, I think I'm going to give him both of these open hands. And you know what? Before I do anything else, I do have to measure him. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to measure. Here he goes back here, and he's standing up straight. He's a pretty big guy, so he's gonna stand fairly tall. We'll go to the top of his ponytail. Whoops, here. Okay, I think you can see that. So he's standing over 7 inches, 7.25 or so, getting kind of close, little over 7.25. So that'll be about 18.4 centimeters. Okay, to the top of his head, let's do that because it might be helpful for the customizers out there. To the top of his head, he's closer to 6 inches. Well, it takes quite a bit off. 6 inches and what, 7/8 almost, near. 6 inches and 3/4 to 6 inches 7/8, somewhere in there. So yeah, if you take away his ponytail, he is a bit shorter. But yeah, that should be right. Yeah. Okay, so that's Omega Red. We'll put him back in the background just a little bit. Okay. What do you guys think of Omega Red? The character. I think he's really underdeveloped as a character, but I really like the premise. Okay, on to the main event. This is Rhodey. Okay, War Machine, James Rhodes. Okay, we'll look at his accessories first too. He's got these alternate hands, which I'm greatly disappointed with because they don't have hinges. They went cheap on these repulsor firing hands, and they gave us no repulsors, which is a boogery thing to do. I have a lot of repulsors, but my favorite repulsor effects are the Silver Centurion, like clear yellow repulsor effect. Some of the newer figures have blue, but unfortunately this guy doesn't come with anything. So I'll pop these out and we'll get War Machine out. And in the background, set this guy up. Okay. I'll put this guy off to the side a bit. Oops. Whoa, he's gonna knock down the subway. All right, so there's Rhodey. Let's look at the effects. So we've got those alternate hands that I talked about just a moment ago. And for these, oh God, it's not gonna focus. The camera does not like this darker color, I guess. Okay, these are very shiny, but they do have the ports for where you can plug in the effects, but he doesn't come with any effects, which is kind of weird, right? It's not just me, right? That is weird. But it's a very dark color, so it doesn't show up on camera very well, but I think you can get the idea. And here's the part where there's no hinge. Usually there's a vertical hinge on here. No, sorry. Usually there's a horizontal hinge on here. So, okay. And then he also comes with this cannon, which is to attach to his back. We'll do that in just a moment. Since I didn't really play Marvel vs. Capcom very much, I was always disappointed with the version of Rhodey in the game because they basically took a modular armor Iron Man and they used that as the game sprite. But they also had some artwork where he looked more like proper War Machine. So this is a tiny missile, which is rubbery. It's kind of goofy. And this is apparently the rocket firing effect. This looks really goofy to me. It does not really look like anything in particular, but I don't know what it looked like in the game. Maybe it's pretty close to the game. Okay, and we'll put this on Rhodey. It goes on his shoulder, of course, up here, and it's probably going to be a bit of a tight fit, so I'm going to do it off camera. I wish today was not cold, because it looks like woo, it's a really tight fit on this day in Japan. So that sounds very strange, but it's a really tight fit on this cold of day in Japan. Okay, it'll zoom back like this on his back, and then you can fold it down sort of like that. Okay, and it can fire quite a bit forward. Now, one of the weird choices with this one is the sculpt is different. So you have the working shoulder part here, but you don't have it here. So that is a strange choice in my opinion. And the way that this part works, it actually moves down inside there. Do you guys see that? It's actually moving down inside there. So unlike the other War Machine where it just slides on an outer rail, it actually has like a part of a circle that is moving inside the figure. So that's kind of an odd choice for the design. But anyways, as long as it doesn't interfere with his other articulation, I guess it's okay. But all right. So with War Machine, let's get him in focus. With War Machine, you can see the aesthetic on the mask is different than usual. He's kind of got this like Mouser from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles look to him. I always thought that was pretty goofy for this Capcom game. So I'm strongly considering replacing this, moving it to a different figure so I can replace this part too. But I don't know, to each their own. Some people might like it. I'm just more of a classic War Machine armor guy. So, but yeah, as a variant, it's fine. It's cool. But okay, let's go with his posability. So, oh, sorry, a few more comments about this. So these are bigger. This seems to be a little bit bigger, and it is definitely different the way I said with that internal mechanism here. Bigger. These are bigger too. I think this might be a different sculpt slightly, though it does look very similar. The cut of this inner armored plating piece is a bit different. I think the other one, it follows the ab crunch seam down. So this one looks a bit different, or a bit more noticeable in not such a good way to me. But okay, and then of course the color of the silvery blue plastic is different. It's not painted, of course. It's molded like a shampoo bottle. Okay, and then he has these dark part. I think this is probably the same. If it's not the same, it looks very similar. Okay, and his boots, like the actual feet, I think are the same too. But okay, let's go on to his articulation now. Okay, so Rhodey can look up. Rhodey can look up just a little bit. Only that? That's crazy. Okay, he can look down the side, of course. He does have some attitude to him because the neck joint does kind of wiggle around in here. But it doesn't move in a very meaningful way. Oh, no, I'm wrong. I disassembled my modular, or no, not modular. I disassembled a couple of armors the other day. Hero's Return armor, but this one is kind of like fused down inside so you can't move it. But this one actually functions, so that's nice. Okay, but you still can't look up. One step forward, two steps back. Okay, with his arms, they will go up like that to the side, so it's not too bad. They will go around. This is going to be in the way. They'll go around all the way. That's nice. Okay, He does have the bicep cut in here. You can see double jointed pinless elbows, but you're going to be really limited. That front joint doesn't want to move. The one that's further down. Okay, so you'd be really limited because of how bulky these are, how big they are. That part does limit the articulation. Combining the two about like that is the maximum, so basically 90. Okay, he doesn't have a diaphragm joint, but he does have his ab crunch. Goes forward just a little bit, back a pretty good amount. Okay, side to side is smooth, but he's cut like a piece of cheese again. He doesn't have that bull joint here, unfortunately. So, okay, his legs will kick up to here. We had pinless elbows, but we have pins on the legs. So that's a bummer again for the people wanting the newer tech. Okay, thigh cut is fine, goes all the way around. His legs are double jointed. They'll go back about that far. Okay, and he does have the usual, well, no boot cut, sorry. He does have the usual hinge back and forward and ankle pivot. So with Rody, let's get a bearing. Let's get a measurement on him for his height. Try to stand him up straight here in the center and see what we can see. Rody is standing to about a little bit higher, sorry. A little bit higher, right around here. So he's standing almost exactly at 6.5 inches. Yeah, just about exactly 6.5 inches. That'll be about 16.4, 16.5 centimeters. Okay. I forgot one thing with his accessories. I wanted to tell you guys, with the accessories, you do get these little peg holes in them. They don't actually attach to him. I also have it on the missile. They don't actually attach to him any place, but if you had like a clear peg, maybe a sprue from something that was clear, then you can kind of display them firing or shooting the missile or something. And we'll check really quick, will this go in here? No, it will not. Sorry, it doesn't go in there. Will this pop off? Feels like it could, but I don't think it does. This must be painted on. I thought it might be a separate piece. If you could pop this off, you could probably slide it, but you might lose it in there. But it really looks like it's not very deep inside there. It's kind of shallow, so it looks like it was made to be fitted in here, but unfortunately it's not happening, sir. Not happening, ma'am. All right, so that is the the War Machine and Omega Red 2-pack. I think I'm going to be customizing this guy to give him the more comic book-like colors, but I really do like these bulkier shoulder pads for my Rody. So I wonder if I can customize it to have a different weapon on here. I'm more of a traditionalist for that, so I'd rather him look like the comics than the video game. So, but yeah, I'm crazy about War Machine. I'm crazy about Iron Man. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry, this one's a long one. I tried to give War Machine his due, but we didn't want to leave out Omega Red completely. So, okay, thanks guys. We'll see you on the next video, and take care of yourselves, and F-ICE and FDJT and basically F the current administration, regime, everybody. But better days ahead. All right, bye for now.